Today I'll share powerful methods to transform your weekends from forgettable blur into meaningful, energizing experiences that fuel your entire week. Are you struggling with things like this? Your weekends disappear before you know it, leaving you exhausted rather than refreshed. You spend Saturday and Sunday catching up on chores and errands, with no time left for yourself. You feel guilty about wasting precious free time but can't seem to break the pattern. Or maybe you have grand plans every Friday, but by Sunday night you realize you've done nothing meaningful again. If any of these sound familiar, you're definitely not alone, and I have some game-changing solutions for you today. Let me explain why weekends often feel so unfulfilling, because understanding this is the first step to fixing it. The main problem is that most people approach weekends with what I call passive drift mode. Without clear intentions, your brain defaults to the easiest activities, scrolling social media, watching random videos, sleeping late, which actually drain your energy rather than restore it. Research from a prominent university found that unstructured leisure time often increases anxiety because your brain keeps worrying about what you should be doing instead. The second issue is obligation overload. Many people treat weekends as a dumping ground for all the tasks they couldn't finish during the week. Laundry, grocery shopping, cleaning, bill paying, these necessary tasks expand to fill all available time, leaving nothing for activities that actually bring joy and fulfillment. A research institution discovered that people who spend more than half their weekend on obligations report feeling more stressed on Monday morning than they did on Friday evening. The third problem is decision fatigue. When Friday night arrives, you're already mentally exhausted from a week of constant decision-making. Without a plan, you waste precious weekend hours trying to decide what to do, often ending up doing nothing at all. Studies show that the average person spends 2 to 3 hours each weekend just trying to figure out how to spend their time. That's nearly an entire morning gone. But here's the good news. With the right strategies, you can completely transform your weekends. I'm going to share 6 practical methods that you can start using immediately. The first method is called the Friday night planning ritual. Every Friday, spend exactly 30 minutes planning your weekend before you do anything else. This isn't about creating a rigid schedule, but about making key decisions while your motivation is high. Here's exactly how to do it. Grab a notebook or open a planning app, set a timer for 30 minutes, and divide your weekend into 3 categories. Write down 3 specific activities, 1 for personal growth, 1 for pure enjoyment, and 1 for connection with others. For personal growth, think about skills you want to develop or knowledge you want to gain. This could be practicing a musical instrument for an hour, working through 2 chapters of that professional development book, completing a module of an online course, or spending 90 minutes on a creative project you've been postponing. The key is to be specific about what and for how long. Instead of writing, work on Spanish, write, complete lesson 15 and 16 of Spanish course, 30 minutes on Saturday at 10 a.m. For pure enjoyment, choose something that brings you genuine pleasure without any productive pressure. This might be hiking at that new trail you've been curious about, trying that recipe you bookmarked months ago, visiting the art museum you pass every day but never enter, or simply reading a novel in the park for 2 uninterrupted hours. Again, specificity matters. Rather than, go somewhere nice, write, visit Riverside Trail, leave house at 2 p.m. Saturday, bring camera and water bottle. For connection, identify someone you want to spend quality time with. Schedule that coffee date with your old college roommate, plan a board game evening with your family, arrange a video call with your parents, or organize a picnic with neighborhood friends. Don't just think about it, take action immediately. Send that text, make that call, create that calendar event. If you're planning to meet someone, suggest a specific time and place right away. The magic happens when you take immediate action on these plans. If you're planning to hike, check the weather forecast and trail conditions right now. If you're going to cook something special, check if you have the ingredients or add them to your shopping list. If you're meeting a friend, send the invitation text before you finish planning. A major research study found that people who plan their weekends on Friday report 40% more satisfaction with their time off. But here's what they don't tell you, the satisfaction starts immediately. Just having a plan reduces anxiety and creates anticipation. One person who tried this method said after just 3 weeks, they felt like their weekends had doubled in length because they were actually living them instead of letting them slip away. Another reported that the planning ritual became something they looked forward to all week, a transition ceremony from work mode to weekend mode. The second powerful technique is the sunrise power hour. This might sound challenging at first, but hear me out because this single change can revolutionize your entire weekend experience. Set your weekend alarm for the same time you wake during the week, or at most 1 hour later. I know what you're thinking. The weekend is for sleeping in. But consider this. Sleeping until noon might feel good in the moment, but it often leads to grogginess, wasted time, and that horrible Sunday night feeling of, where did my weekend go? Instead, use that first golden hour for something meaningful to you. The options are endless, but let me give you some specific ideas that have worked wonderfully for others. For exercise enthusiasts, this could be a peaceful yoga session on your balcony, a run through empty streets, a bike ride while the world is still quiet, or a strength training session in your living room. The endorphins from morning exercise create a positive cascade effect that enhances your entire day. If you're more intellectually inclined, use this hour for deep reading, not social media scrolling, but actual books that expand your mind. Set up a reading corner the night before with good lighting, a comfortable chair, your book, and perhaps a timer to ensure you read for the full hour without distraction. One avid reader reported getting through 52 books in a year just from weekend morning reading sessions. For creative souls, this hour is pure gold. Whether it's writing, painting, playing music, coding a personal project, or crafting, your creative abilities peak in the morning when your prefrontal cortex is fresh. Set up your creative space the night before. Lay out your art supplies, tune your guitar, open your writing document, prepare your craft materials. Remove every barrier between waking up and creating. Some people prefer contemplative activities. This might be meditation, where you sit quietly and observe your thoughts for 20 minutes, followed by journaling about your intentions for the day. Or it could be gratitude practice, where you write detailed descriptions of things you appreciate. Others enjoy planning activities, working on vision boards, reviewing goals, or designing future projects. The magic happens because your brain is at peak performance in the morning, before the distractions and decisions of the day pile up. Research from a neuroscience institute shows that willpower and focus are finite resources that deplete throughout the day. By claiming the first hour for yourself, you're using your best mental resources on what matters most to you. Here's the crucial preparation step that makes this sustainable. Prepare everything the night before. If you're exercising, lay out your clothes, shoes, water bottle, and headphones. If you're reading, place your book, glasses, and bookmark next to your coffee maker. If you're doing creative work, set up your workspace completely, computer on, documents open, supplies arranged. The goal is to minimize the steps between waking and starting your activity. Some people even sleep in their workout clothes to remove one more barrier. After trying this for 1 week, most people report feeling like they've gained an extra day. One participant in a recent study shared that their morning hour of painting became the highlight of their entire week, something they looked forward to from Monday morning. They said, "That quiet hour with my watercolors while everyone else sleeps feels like stolen time, like I've discovered a secret third day of the weekend." The compound effect is remarkable. Just 2 hours each weekend equals over 100 hours per year of focused personal time. That's equivalent to 2.5 work weeks devoted entirely to what you love. The third method is what I call adventure anchoring. Every weekend needs at least one mini adventure, something that breaks your routine and creates a memorable experience. Let me be crystal clear about what I mean by adventure, because this isn't about bungee jumping or expensive vacations. An adventure is simply any experience that's novel, engaging, and creates a distinct memory. Here are some perfectly valid weekend adventures that cost little to nothing. Visit a farmer's market in a different neighborhood and chat with a vendor about their products. Take a photo walk in your city where you pretend to be a tourist and photograph interesting architecture or street art. Try cooking a dish from a completely different culture using ingredients from an ethnic grocery store. Attend a free community event, outdoor concert, library talk, or local festival. Take public transit to a random stop and explore that area for an hour. Visit every little free library in your neighborhood and leave books in them. Go to a different grocery store than usual and buy 3 ingredients you've never used before. The critical step is to treat this adventure as non-negotiable as a work meeting. Here's how to make it stick. First, choose your adventure by Wednesday and put it in your calendar with a specific time. Saturday, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Explore Chinatown and try dim sum. Second, tell someone about it to create accountability. Text a friend. This Saturday I'm finally checking out that vintage bookstore downtown. Third, prepare for it like you would any appointment. Check the weather, plan your route, charge your phone, bring a water bottle. Research from a leading psychology department reveals something fascinating about novel experiences. They actually slow down our perception of time, making weekends feel longer and more fulfilling. This happens because your brain pays more attention to new information, creating denser memories. Think about it. Can you remember what you did 3 Saturdays ago? Probably not if it was routine. But that Saturday you tried paddleboarding for the first time? You remember every detail. Start small with adventures within 30 minutes of home, then gradually expand your comfort zone. One person started with visiting local parks they'd never been to. Their first adventure was a 15-minute drive to a small neighborhood park. They discovered it had a beautiful rose garden and a Tai Chi group that meets every Saturday. This led to joining the group, which led to new friendships, which led to being invited to cultural events they never knew existed in their own city. Within 2 months, they had discovered 15 new favorite spots and felt like they were living in a completely different, more exciting place. Another person made it their mission to try every coffee shop within a 5-mile radius. Not only did they discover amazing local businesses, but they started recognizing baristas and regulars, creating a sense of community they hadn't felt since college. Each coffee shop visit became a mini anthropological study, observing the different vibes, clientele, and neighborhood characteristics. The memories you create become anchors that distinguish one weekend from another, preventing them from blurring together into forgettable sameness. When someone asks, "How was your weekend?" you'll have a real answer instead of, "Oh, you know, same old stuff." These adventures become stories, and stories are how we make sense of our lives and create meaning. Method number 4 is the connection priority system. Loneliness and disconnection are epidemic problems that weekends can help solve, and the solution is simpler than you might think. Schedule at least one meaningful social interaction every weekend, but here's the key: make it intentional and device-free. Let me give you specific examples of what this looks like in practice. A long phone call with a distant friend where you both go for walks while talking, creating a shared experience despite the distance. A cooking session with your partner where you try a new recipe together, phones in another room, music playing, just enjoying the process. A board game afternoon with your kids where you're fully present, making silly voices for game characters, celebrating their victories, creating inside jokes. A coffee date with a neighbor where you actually learn about their life story, their dreams, their challenges. A video chat with your parents where you give them a virtual tour of your home improvements or garden. Here's how to make these connections meaningful. First, schedule them like medical appointments. Sunday lunch with mom is as non-negotiable as a dentist visit. Second, prepare conversation starters if you're worried about awkward silences. Ask about their childhood memories, their biggest life lessons, their current passions. Third, create rituals around these connections. Maybe it's always walking while talking to your best friend, or always cooking together with your sibling, or always playing cards with your grandparent. During the interaction, put all devices away, and I mean completely away, not just face down. Put them in another room if necessary. The mere presence of a phone, even turned off, reduces the depth of conversation according to research. Give your full attention to the person you're with. Make eye contact, ask follow-up questions, share your own vulnerabilities. This is how real connections are forged. A longitudinal study spanning several decades found something remarkable. People with strong social connections not only live longer but report significantly higher life satisfaction. The data is staggering. Strong relationships are a better predictor of happiness than wealth, career success, or physical health. Yet we're lonelier than ever, with the average person reporting having fewer close friends than any time in recorded history. The quality matters infinitely more than quantity. One deep 2-hour conversation where you discuss fears, dreams, and real challenges is worth more than 10 surface-level interactions about weather and work. Depth comes from vulnerability, continuity, and presence. When you see the same person regularly and go deeper each time, you build a relationship treasury that pays dividends in happiness and support. To make this sustainable, create a rotation system that ensures all your important relationships get attention. Week 1 might be immediate family, that sibling you've been meaning to call, your parents who miss you, your children who need your undivided attention. Week 2 could be extended family, cousins, aunts, uncles, grandparents. Week 3 focuses on close friends, your college roommate, your former colleague, your childhood best friend. Week 4 is for community connections, neighbors, hobby group members, volunteer colleagues. One person who implemented this system shared something beautiful. I went from feeling disconnected and lonely despite being surrounded by people, to feeling held by a web of relationships. Each weekend connection is like weaving another thread in this web. After 6 months, I had reconnected with old friends, deepened family bonds, and even made new friends in my neighborhood. The Sunday scaries disappeared because I felt so nourished by the weekend connections. The 5th technique is batch and dash for all those necessary but unfulfilling tasks that can poison an entire weekend if not properly managed. Instead of letting errands and chores spread throughout your weekend like a slow poison, compress them all into one focused, intensive block. Here's exactly how to implement this game-changing strategy. Choose a 3 to 4 hour block, ideally Saturday morning from 9 to noon or 1. This becomes your obligation sprint. Everything mundane goes here: grocery shopping, house cleaning, laundry, bill paying, meal prep, car maintenance, appointment scheduling, email clearing. The key word is everything. No exceptions. The night before your batch block, prepare meticulously. Make your grocery list organized by store layout. List all cleaning tasks room by room. Gather all bills and paperwork. Queue up laundry loads. The goal is zero thinking time during execution, just pure action. When your batch time arrives, transform into a productivity machine. Set a timer for each sub-task: 30 minutes for grocery shopping, 45 minutes for cleaning, 20 minutes for bills. Play high-energy music that makes you want to move fast. Some people even wear workout clothes to get in the sprint mindset. Attack these tasks with the intensity of someone whose house is about to be inspected by their mother-in-law. Here's the crucial rule. When the time block ends, you're done, no matter what's left. This creates urgency and prevents perfectionism from stealing your entire weekend. If you didn't get to reorganizing the garage, it waits until next weekend's batch. This hard stop is what makes the system work. It forces prioritization and efficiency while protecting your free time. The efficiency gains are remarkable. Studies show that batching similar tasks can reduce the time needed by up to 40%. Why? Because you eliminate transition time between tasks, maintain momentum, and avoid decision fatigue. Cleaning while laundry runs, combining all errands into one trip, paying all bills in one sitting. These compound efficiencies add up fast. But the real magic is psychological. When obligations are contained to one block, your brain can fully relax during the rest of the weekend. That nagging voice saying, "I should be doing something productive," disappears because you already did everything in your sprint. You can read a book on Saturday afternoon without guilt. You can take a long walk on Sunday without thinking about unmade beds or empty fridges. One practitioner of this method shared their transformation. "I used to have this constant low-level anxiety all weekend. I'd be watching a movie but thinking about laundry. I'd be with friends but worrying about groceries. Tasks were scattered throughout both days, so I never fully relaxed or fully worked. Now, I go hard for 4 hours Saturday morning, then I'm completely free." I went from spending 8 scattered hours on chores to 4 focused hours, gaining an entire afternoon of freedom. But more importantly, I gained peace of mind. The sixth and final method is the Sunday night success setup. Instead of letting Sunday night become a source of dread about Monday, transform it into a powerful transition ritual. From 7 to 8 p.m. every Sunday, prepare for the week ahead, not just practically but psychologically. Review your calendar, prepare Monday's outfit, pack your lunch, but also reflect on the weekend's highlights and set one small intention for the coming week. Write down 3 things you're grateful for from the weekend and 1 thing you're looking forward to in the week ahead. This simple practice rewires your brain to see Monday as an opportunity rather than a burden. Research shows that people who have a Sunday night ritual report 25% less Monday morning stress and significantly higher weekly productivity. Create a pleasant atmosphere for this hour, light a candle, play calm music, have your favorite tea. One person described their Sunday night hour as going from the worst part of the weekend to a peaceful closing ceremony that left them feeling prepared and optimistic. The compound effect over months is transformational. You stop dreading Mondays and start seeing the weekly rhythm as natural and energizing. Let me summarize what we discussed today. First, plan your weekend on Friday night with 3 specific anchored activities. Next, wake up at a consistent time and use your first hour for something meaningful. Then, schedule one adventure every weekend to create memorable experiences. Additionally, prioritize one deep social connection with full presence and attention. Also, batch all errands and chores into one intensive time block. Finally, create a Sunday night ritual to transition positively into the week ahead. The most important thing is to start with just one method this weekend. You don't need to implement everything at once. Pick the technique that resonates most with you and commit to trying it for just one weekend. I recommend starting with the Friday night planning ritual because it sets the foundation for everything else. After watching this video, please take 5 minutes right now to plan one specific activity for this weekend. It doesn't have to be elaborate, even scheduling a 30-minute walk in a new location counts. Put it in your calendar immediately and treat it as non-negotiable. You might feel changes within just one weekend, and after a month of consistent practice, you'll wonder how you ever survived without these strategies. If today's content was helpful, please hit the like button. It really helps others discover these practical solutions. If you want more evidence-based strategies for living better, please subscribe to the channel. Remember, your weekends are not just gaps between work weeks, they're opportunities for growth, joy, and restoration. Let's reclaim them together. That's all for today. Thank you for watching, and here's to your transformed weekends.